Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps. It is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can. Oh, yeah, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard Streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And, I'm not taking no nights off alone here in the Yard of Streams. Doing it with the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello. Guess what?
What?
I have 2 Razor Ramon shirts coming. Well,
I like the one you sent me. That was cool.
I know. Yeah. So I have
cool.
a Wolfpack NWO shirt coming and that Hey Yo shirt that I'm very
That's
excited
the
about.
one I like. That's the one I really liked.
Yeah. I have other ones coming also, like a Gunther shirt, and then I'm going to be ordering a Dirty Dumb shirt. So I'll have those, but I'm very excited.
Is Dirty Dom my favorite wrestler currently? He's getting, at least in WWE, like in my power rankings, if I was gonna do that, maybe for TikTok, who knows? But like he's slowly climbing up there. God, I just saw that he was on Impulsive. I do want to listen to that or watch
I
that.
know. I'm gonna watch that. He was like semi in character based off the clips I saw, but he also wasn't.
He's towing the line. He's towing the line really well. And that's what you have to be doing when you're in his stage.
It's mostly anything that he has to say about Ray is in character.
Oh yeah, he goes, yeah. He was telling a story about the Eddie feud when they were fighting for custody over him. And he was saying how Eddie showed when it was that moment when he is like his backhand to him like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ray comes up and he goes, yeah, and my deadbeat comes by. And I was like, oh, okay. So like this man just is in, like, when the cameras are on, like Ray is not his dad.
Yeah, no, he says to that he doesn't envision being a wrestler like forever, like the way his dad is, because he wants to be around for his kids and stuff. And he's like, and Mike, one of the hosts, is like, oh, like your dad wasn't. He was like, exactly. And so yeah, he's like totally in character.
I do like Mike. I like Mike on Impulsive.
Yeah,
he's pretty funny. Brought up some other stuff on Impulsive from that, which I was in tears, but not shocked. They brought up Japan. Not shocked, but goddamn, so funny. But that's what's going on there. I'm trying to think else. We usually just, we hear from the peeps, of course.
Yes.
Sarah, we got to hear from the peeps. We've been royal rambling here. We got to see what's up with the peeps. Vinny was popping. David was popping.
That's Marcus.
You guys, Marcus was popping. David was popping. Sorry, they're very similar icons. Jay was popping is us talking. That's right. Good observation. And he did it for the tendies. I mean,
I know, for the tendies. Find me a man that will give me tendies anytime I want, because Daddy Dom is very lucky to have found a lady that provides tendies.
All I'm saying, what?
I was going to say, he's literally like my spirit animal, because I saw that clip from however long ago where Damien and Finn were asked who's the pickiest eater out of all Judgment Day, and they both said Dom. And they was like, anywhere we go, he wants like the chicken tenders. I'm like, that is me. If I am not sure about anything else on the menu, I will get the chicken nuggets, the chicken tenders. That is me. I'm like, I am a literal child when it comes to food. So
here's my thing with that. Chicken tenders, you fucking throw that in front of me, I'm devouring the entire plate. But I do have an issue because I have my best friend, Big Ben. He is the pickiest eater. Just the plainest Irish man you'll ever see eat. Like, he doesn't like baked potato or mashed potato. It's one of the 2 potatoes he doesn't like. It's ridiculous. I could not imagine being like that, because I eat anything. Like, the best part about my job is just walking into these kitchens and restaurants, and chef's just making me. I'm like, what? They're like, whoa, do you want any food? I'm like, what are you feeling? Like, tell me
Mhm.
what's good here. And then they give it to me. I had a burger the other night when I was out in town from a chef that I have a good relationship with. Best burger I've had. Also great that it was open at 11:15. That's why it's restaurants. But like, goddamn, great burger. State Street Provisions over in Boston. Fucking delicious. They do have chicken tenders though, Sarah. Don't worry. They do have chicken tenders if you ever come visit here.
All right.
Because we got to go there. It's right next to the aquarium. Everything's like right
Ooh.
there. It's all like right there. It's awesome. Yeah, no, Bernard, hello. Greetings and salutations. Sarah. I've been wanting to talk about it. It's just on the tip of my tongue. I just want to talk about the whole Judgment Day Dom thing to begin with.
Oh,
I
okay.
jump into it. Like, yeah, like this is let's not beat around the bush. I'm so happy they're going in this direction with it and doing it where they're playing it out. It's just nice that it's not a shock.
Yeah, we knew that Judgment Day was going to be a fixture of Raw because they have been forever, but we were told by WWE beforehand that Rhea was going to kick off Raw. So that's exactly what she did, and it didn't take too long for Dom and Liv to show up, thankfully. So they had their back and forth, they get into a brawl, blah, blah, blah. So, I think that this is the I don't know. I would say this has to be, the main story that's like carrying Raw right now. And I wouldn't even say that Raw is bad, that they need something to carry them, but they just came out with the viewership, and last night's Raw had the highest viewership since Raw after
After
Mania, with
Mania.
with the first hour specifically peaking at over 2 million. So we know a lot of that had to do with the Judgment Day. So clearly what they're doing is the right thing, because there were people who were having like mixed reactions to what this is, and I was really surprised that there are people who are not interested in what's going on right now, because I feel like what they've been doing has been so interesting and whatever. It doesn't matter if it's kind of a story that's been told a million times in wrestling. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's always different, and they're the characters are different, the history is different, the way that we got to this point is so different. How do you not want to see what's going on with the Judgment Day? Like,
Oh, there's so many different layers to it. There's so many different moving parts. And they have not even addressed a detail from before all this started was Finn and Liv getting out of the car together.
yeah.
Like, does
Well,
that
that
mean
might
that
not be addressed. That might be something where it's like, okay, that proves that they were working together, the entire time or something. Which Finn kind of confirmed,
I
because he
want
said
I want WWE ever
ever
since I
since
what?
that moment, with Damien, he's been
That could have been
plotting
it. You
against
think
him.
that
So
was
that
it?
might just be
Okay, that could be
confirmation of
it.
that. Yeah. Um, I guess my only issue that I would take away from how last night went is the way that they're making the new Judgment Day look, as opposed to the Terror Twins. I don't want to see this again, because it's been now 2 weeks of them winning over the Judgment Day, and it's like you can't build the new Judgment Day and want them to look like a credible threat, but for some reason, these four dudes, like, they can't take down Damien by themselves, or they're running away from
It
Rhea.
was
Like, what
just
are we
world
doing?
champion. They were just world champions.
Okay, but if you're trying to make Judgment Day a legitimate threat to them, you're just gonna have them get beaten down every single week because they were champions. Liv is the champion right now.
But
So
they
why
got beat down. No, I get that. Like
2 weeks
it's
in a row? 2 weeks in a row. I'm
because
saying
they're
you can't,
nagging thought.
but you
I
can't
okay.
keep doing this, though. Is what I'm saying. You can't keep having Judgment Day look like a joke. You can't do that. Otherwise, the storyline is dead before it even happens.
I don't think they look weak though,
They
like at
literally
all.
keep running away from them. They haven't gotten like anything, any offense in that like makes them look
Yeah,
not.
because they get beat down and then the day before they evolve into their final form essentially. They they run away. Yeah, because they don't want. That's what they're doing. It's trying to poke the bear and then run away. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but they also have to be careful because they've been doing that now 2 weeks in a row. They can't keep doing it every single week because then why would Rhea even care to have a match with Liv? Or why would Damian have any sort of fear of anybody in the Judgment Day if he knows that all he has to do is like kick their ass in 2 seconds? Like that just doesn't make any sense, nor does it seem like they care about how Finn or Dominic or JD look. Like I just don't want them to be in I don't want them to become a joke. That's my main thing. Like
I don't think they're becoming a
I
joke.
don't want that to happen.
I can see where you're coming from. However, I do not view them as a joke right now. The whole purpose of this opening segment was because we didn't really hear from Rhea last week, you know, and we heard from Damian. Now this week we heard from Rhea, and then Damian comes in to save. So it was just kind of closing that to me. Like we finally heard what Rhea had to say and saying how the knife wasn't deep enough and getting like like all right, here we
No,
go.
she made a dick joke.
Can't
That's what
remember
she did.
everything off the
She
top of my
made a
head right
dick
now.
joke. She said she's sure that Dominic has heard this before, but it wasn't that deep. So she was
Okay,
making a small
I
dick
did see that.
joke,
All right,
but
okay.
that
But
I'm
still,
just saying that's why she got the is all I mean.
So you have her and then have Liv all the way in the crowd. Perfect because Rhea wants to rip Liv's head off because of all this.
Yeah.
And then I'm not kidding. The moment of Damian Priest just rising, doing a little all rise himself into the brawl out back. I loved that Liv jumped on Damian. This to me, because she did that, and then to end it where okay, I could see what you're saying because they stood tall, the Terror Twins, but maybe they had to.
Again.
They had to. And next week, I'll either be on your side or off it. We'll see next week. I loved how they teased Dominic almost getting riptide and Liv, pulling him away. Because to me, that could tease that we're gonna see like Rhea versus Dom at some point in this match.
Yeah,
Like
well,
it's gonna be a mixed tag match, but like Rhea could get some offense, like a Ronda Rousey in WrestleMania with Triple H and Stephanie. And then
see, I don't love it because then
why?
we know we're not going to see that from Liv and Damian. I don't think it should be one-sided. If we're going to see any sort of mixed tag action, you know that they're not going to have Damian lay a hand on Liv. Whereas people would be more okay with Dominic doing it to Rhea. You know what I mean? But we wouldn't see it the other way. I feel like if you're going to do it, you go full out. But we know that that's not what's going to happen. So,
what if Dom hit her with like the 619? I think that's fine.
I mean,
and then Damian tries to like.
Well, I'm talking about Damian and Liv though.
That's what I mean. Liv getting offense in, like hitting.
Yeah,
him
but
like
Damian's not going to do anything to her, is what I mean, because people are so like, oh my god, he's such a big man and she's such a little girl. I get,
You don't see him like trying to take her up for the South of Heaven.
No.
And like get her up, and then Dom like low blow.
No.
You don't see. I could see that.
I mean, I don't know.
It's Triple H. Triple H was rolling with China, who is an intercontinental champion. People forget.
And you're talking about 2000. It's 20 something years later though.
The world evolves. The world rotates. Wrestling repeats itself.
We do know that they will be facing each other at Bash in Berlin, which I think was kind of inevitable. You knew that we weren't going to see Rhea versus Liv again because based on what has been happening since SummerSlam, it's involved the 2 versus the 2. I really wouldn't be surprised if, unfortunately, the Terror Twins win this match. Simply because I think that if we have Rhea versus Liv at Bad Blood, then Liv might be the one who wins. I really don't think that Rhea needs to come out as the champion out of this feud with Liv. I don't think so. I think right now they're both on such highs, but Liv needs it more than Rhea. Rhea's already like an established top talent, legitimate champion who was literally champion for a year from
Mhm.
WrestleMania to WrestleMania. There should be
Mhm.
no rush to put the title back on her. And we already know that Liv is thriving. She was getting Dom level heat last night, which we talked about that I expected that was going to happen if she aligned herself with Dom. So this is the best work that we've seen from Liv. And I think that she deserves to have a longer reign than looking like a placeholder champion for Rhea. I think that they need to keep going with this as long as it makes sense and as long as people are still eating it up.
Yes. Liv
Yeah.
Morgan 1,000% needs to stay champion
Yeah.
after this feud. Liv Morgan needs to be strapped to a rocket ship and just
Yes.
launched. Like she is the type of women's world champion you need on Raw right now. Not only for the outside, marketing thing, but because she's so good on camera and so good at interacting with different superstars. Like you could have her feud with the most random of people and be like, "What the hell? What are we doing?" But then you're like, "Oh, maybe Sonya Deville and Liv Morgan actually was a decent feud for a pay-per-view." Like something like that where it's like, "Okay, I don't love it, but you know what? It was pretty entertaining." That's what you needed out of her right now. So it legitimizes I almost said world heavyweight, the world championship.
Well, and it's funny because I've seen such mixed reactions, a lot of hate for Liv as champion, but I really think that people are having a hard time acknowledging how good of a job she's doing, and they're just like, oh, I hate her because she's with Dom and this happened with Rhea and I'm a bigger Rhea fan. It's like people have such a hard time separating their personal feelings toward a wrestler and the work that they're doing. And so it's unfortunate to see people hate on Liv for every
Mhm.
tiny thing that she does. Like, oh, did you see her outfit? Oh my god, when she's talking on the mic, it sounds so robotic. It's this, it's that. And it's like, come on, guys.
Liv?
She's really doing, yes, I was seeing it on Twitter last night. She's doing a
Robotic?
good job to
That's not a word
make
I
you,
would
she's
use.
doing her job to get you to hate her. That's the
There you
feeling
go.
that you feel about her. That's why. It's just when
That's
people
why.
take it to a different level where they're almost attacking her personally, that's when I'm like, okay,
Oh,
guys,
100%.
it's a show, dude. Like at the end of the day, she's like a fake champion. You know what I mean? Like it's not that serious. It's not that
It's
deep.
not.
Like it's
James
meant to be
Brolin didn't rule the
entertaining
world.
one way or the other. Just because you're not liking it doesn't mean she sucks or she's this or she's that. It's like,
Yeah, I was gonna ask before I started thinking about James Brolin as Thanos. Do you think this is a case of just people being fickle pickles,
you know,
Sarah?
I think so, and I also think that Rhea has established a very dedicated fan base, and I think that Liv has that too. It's just not to the same degree because of the rocket ship that Rhea has been on since she beat Charlotte at Mania.
Mhm.
Basically, since they put her in Judgment Day, it's just been like high and high and high. And Liv isn't there yet. She's been around. She's been on the main roster a lot longer, but
Mhm.
I think that unfortunately the most vocal people on social media are the ones that are they're like the most easily impressionable, you know what I mean, where they can kind of have a hard time distinguishing what's real and what's not.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
I
I know
think that's
exactly
the
what you're talking
problem.
about.
And yeah, I was talking about something like this earlier with my sister because um Dom on Impulsive talks about how his wife is very understanding that like when he's at
Oh my
work
god,
he's
yeah.
dirty Dom, and when he's at home he's just her husband. And that the night that Rhea licked him, the first text that he got from his wife was about how there was a tarantula in the garage. So it's like she just doesn't care. And I've only noticed people really start to care what Dom is doing since Liv became like in the picture. And I feel like it's so fucked up because the only reason why people are saying that is because they believe that Liv is like cute, she's pretty, she's hot, she's whatever. They see her more as the like stereotypical
That's the
type of
worst.
girl that Dom would go for, as opposed to Rhea Ripley, who's bigger and she's stronger and she's like more dominant, right? So like they weren't intimidated by her, you know, on Dom's relationship, and they're like feeling that way with Liv, and so they're taking that anger out on her as if she's doing something wrong when she's not. She's just playing a character really well, and you're getting too emotionally invested in it. So I was just
It's
glad that Dom said that, because I'm like, can we shut up now? Like, she's not
yeah.
doing anything inappropriate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's Hollywood in a nutshell. I'll be nice in
yeah,
here,
they're
but it's Hollywood
acting.
in a nutshell. Like, I mean, how I could go on and on. There's just a list of actors that hit my head that you could say, well, I'll give the easy one. Zendaya. Do we remember the tennis movie that Zendaya's in? And how
Yeah.
there's I'll say bedroom scene with two men.
Yeah.
She dates Tom Holland and he's Spider-Man. Like, I think we
Well,
all get it.
we also, people are forgetting as well,
Right, I should
that
date Zendaya, John.
um Dom and his girl, his wife, have been together since they were teenagers.
Yeah,
I'm sure
14. It's
they're
young love.
I'm sure they're both very secure in their relationships, you know, like the second that he decided
Yeah.
he wanted to get into wrestling, I'm sure she was very aware of all of that could entail. Not to mention, it's hard to imagine she's not proud of him. He's one of the
Oh
biggest
my
heels
god.
in all of wrestling.
Biggest
There's,
stars.
you know, he's not like having love scenes with Liv, you know what I mean? Like, they've kissed twice. It's like that's more than what has happened with Rhea, but like they weren't not
Yeah,
touchy feely either. You know what I mean? It's just, it's all because of what Liv looks like, and I think that's like unfortunate, but
it does suck.
I think she's just doing a great job.
I do agree
So,
with John Franklin here. John Franklin. Pat
do you
should
know
date
him?
Zendaya. It's my best friend from college.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you
it's, my,
know him?
it's my best friend from college who's yeah, it's but he's
Um,
right. Like what come on. Let's give the chick love.
and
Get me
yeah, I
love.
agree. It says people need to chill out. It's just a storyline. Yes, I think a lot of it is going to be the younger fans, honestly, the ones that have pictures of like, you know, Rhea Ripley as their profile picture, ones who were not
It's
even
so
in the
funny.
womb during the Attitude Era to even understand the level that Vince would make these people go to, and you know, everyone
This
knew
is
that they
so
were married
tame.
or whatever.
So tame compared
Um
to what was put on our screens during the Attitude Era. Mae Young gave birth to a hand, okay?
yeah, let's not revisit that.
I would
Marcus
love to.
says, why do a women's title for the speed show instead of just making a mid-card title? I honestly, I don't know. I do like that they're going to
Marketing.
introduce a women's speed title, simply because it's like, all right, if they're really going to go all in on this speed concept, then you might as well involve the women. But I don't see a lot of benefit to being the speed champion. I mean, the last one was Ricochet, and he's now gone.
It's
Andrade,
Andrade.
and I mean, he's been on SmackDown a little bit, but like, you know,
Low key
he's,
killing it on SmackDown.
I know, we stand Andrade here.
We're
Um,
so fans of Andrade. El
so
Idolo.
yeah, so like it, but that's not really doing much for him. The speed title isn't doing anything. So I mean,
Yeah,
if
the
this gets
speed
other
it's not about
women
him.
on the show, I guess sure. But yeah, I think as we've talked about before, I think introducing a mid card title is ideal, and I want that to happen sooner than later. I just also think that they need to figure out what they want to do with the women's tag titles, because they can't even get them on TV every week or have compelling storylines with that title, that it doesn't make me feel confident that they would have any better luck with booking a mid-card title, you know? Like, eh,
It's in
eh,
the works. It's in the works.
yeah, we're gonna get US title and intercontinental title.
It's
Like
gonna
that.
happen, but the easy answer for the speed thing is strictly because it's marketing. It's marketing for
Yeah.
Twitter and all that. That is for the Thursday show.
She did give birth to a hand.
Damn
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then he came back for the 1000th episode of Raw.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, so we see the progression of the New Day versus the Final Testament, and it's taking a turn because we saw a backstage segment with the New Day and Odyssey Jones, and clearly Xavier Woods is not too thrilled about Odyssey being around, which is something that Karrion is honing in on and wants everybody to know. He's just trying to be the new Big E, which, like, come on, stop. But anyway, great heel move. Shout out you, Karrion. Paul Ellering looked like a psycho last night, but other than that,
do you know why he had the X?
He was trying to be Dexter Lumis. Is what I
No, he was
that's what I'm
paying
deciding.
homage.
I was just deciding that that's
Oh,
what it
I know
was.
the real reason.
Oh.
He was
Okay.
paying homage to Kevin Sullivan.
Oh, cool. Good for him. So this prompts the question because
Okay.
the most obvious answer for most people is Xavier Woods is going to be the one to turn heel. He's pissed at Kofi Kingston for bringing in Odyssey Jones, and it looks like he's replacing him as his best buddy. But there are some people who are talking about, what if we saw Kofi Kingston turn heel and have Odyssey Jones as somewhat of a, I don't know, a bodyguard or something like that. And you said you had a lot to say about this, so I'm very curious.
I do. I do have a lot to say about this, and I'm probably gonna even mid look up notes about this because I am so passionate. Remember, Sara, when I talked about this weeks ago that I am very invested in this as a Raw. Like I was,
yes,
it was very good what they're doing. It, made sense. Like I saw the vision, and I could see it had legs. Well, guess what? Those legs are now grown. Okay, because it is one of the more interesting feuds on Raw. One, because it's the New Day. Like it's so positive power and everything. Like, and then you have Karrion Kross, who basically is the face of evil at this point with the Final Testament. And you have them questioning like the Xavier Woods bringing in Odyssey Jones now. Where is this gonna leave him? Even the stuff before that when, what was it? It was a tag match, and he's like, oh no, or no, singles match. It's like, who's gonna face me? Karrion Kross. And Xavier Woods about to step up to the plate, and Kofi Kingston said, no, I'm gonna do it. And then there was that little that little look there from Xavier Woods. It's stuff like that that's been building, and if you haven't been following along, diligently like myself, then it's gonna go right over your head. And especially last night when Xavier was going to speak up to Karrion after he pretty much called him out for all the stuff he just said, and Kofi took the mic from him and ended with the cliche New Day rocks, New Day rocks. And Xavier was not happy about that. Like these little things, it's gonna build to the point where we're going to see Xavier Woods turn heel at some point. It has happened not only with the New Day, like, yeah, that's great for the details and whatnot following, but let's even go a little bit deeper. Let's go a little deeper into the layers, because Karrion Kross has now turned every single person that he's feuded with heel immediately following. That's even better storytelling.
How do you feel about Xavier Woods turning heel though? Because we kind of have talked about maybe the New Day shouldn't explore that just because we know they've been together for 10 years. And at the beginning, I don't know if many people remember when the New Day first came out, they were preachers and whatever. They were heels.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
They were heels.
It was awful, but they were heels.
Yeah, and so they had to shift, and they ended up becoming the most over good guys on the show every single week. They got their own cereal, and they had a ton of merch, and that was for the most of the last 10 years. So for them to decide now to potentially turn someone heel, that's a big deal. And I don't know how it's going to be received, honestly. I think I think that people love the New Day, but I think a lot of people's favorite member, of course, was Big E because he was just so funny and so much more over the top. He was like a combination of Woods and Kofi, and so I think that's why people just were the most fascinated by him. So I think, if someone like Xavier turns, it might not be as big of a deal, but it feels like it is still pretty significant for a guy that's been a babyface for 10 years to finally become the bad guy.
It is. However, he needs this run. He needs a little bit of a singles run, and if it happens to be in a heel way, so be it. Because Xavier Woods is very talented.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Creed, the person,
Mm-hmm.
is very talented. And if you're not a WWE fan, but a wrestling fan, there's a difference. You'll remember him as Consequences Creed in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was in the X division. He was competing, on big stages before that, not in a faction, not in a group, and doing a pretty good job of it. So what if it was multi-man matches? That's what the whole friggin' division was.
Yeah.
Like, he can, and especially now in his career, he doesn't have to win it. I'll stop there. I'll put my ceiling there that he doesn't have to win a world title or a WWE title, but he at least has got to be in a match for it. I want to see Xavier Woods fight for the WWE Championship on a pay-per-view because he deserves it. He's been a guy that has done so much for the company, not only in the ring, but like the up, down, down stuff. It's very entertaining if you're a gamer. Go watch it. He needs to be rewarded, and the best compromise there is maybe don't put the belt on him, but at least have him fight for it. You made him king of the ring already.
I assume that's not going to happen for a while, just given the way that the world heavyweight title is right now. But
Oh yeah, I'm
he
saying like a
could
year away, but still,
he could
he needs a year to
still
build up.
be in the mix for like the Intercontinental or something, like at some point.
He
Um
hasn't won a singles. That's
yeah,
insane.
so
See how
that
they're
might
scared.
be
Maybe
the
that's it.
motivation behind this too. Like we already have seen Kofi, he's won singles titles. He became the champion, even if we
Kofi
don't have to
Mania,
talk about the details of how
the
that reign
ending.
went. But Xavier hasn't reached that. He hasn't been a singles champion. So it would make sense if he's like, all right, this is what I want to do because he's getting older. I assume he's close to 40. I'm not positive, but I assume so. So I wouldn't be surprised if a goal of his is to become a singles champion before he doesn't wrestle anymore. And I think the best way for him to accomplish that is by breaking out of this because he's probably going to be a far more compelling character on screen if he
Mm-hmm.
is different than how we've become accustomed to seeing. Like if he's going to be the heel, he can feud with Kofi at first and then that can shift to somebody else. So yeah, I think that gives him the best shot at being successful. I think if he just tried to kind of like do it now, it doesn't make any sense for him to just break away from Kofi at this point and just be like, oh, I'm going to do my own thing. That wouldn't make any sense. But how they're building this up, it would make sense for him to finally be like, all right, I can't
I
be with
gotta
you,
do it.
or yeah, I'm pissed,
I gotta
whatever.
do it.
So yeah,
I
exactly.
need it. I'm so for it. I'm so for it.
Um, did you want to look at comments? Are you laughing
I,
at?
I didn't know this about Kofi that he made a brief appearance on the TV show Psych after becoming champion. That's very interesting.
Yeah, Psych used to be like a
Psych was the shit.
no, that's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it used to
Oh
be like one of those shows that like WWE worked with because it was on USA.
yeah, that's smart.
I
They
think
were
wasn't
constantly doing
Cody
it.
Rhodes on Psych too?
Cody Rhodes was on Psych, maybe Psych.
I don't remember. I don't remember. Cody he was on a show too. But yeah.
Oh no, he was on but the Stephen Amell.
He already got his PhD. I'm almost positive he already has his PhD.
R.I.P. Bootios.
Mhm.
I don't think I have that
Oh, he
shirt
was on
anymore.
Arrow. I know, but I swear he was on something
Arrow,
else.
that's it.
And Cena was on, yeah, but Cody was on something else too, because I can see the picture in my head. He was wearing like, it was almost like I think it was like a dark purple shirt. I used to be like really obsessed with Cody Rhodes, so don't question me about why
Used
I
to be
remember this.
obsessed.
Well, I'm not as obsessed with him now.
Oh,
So.
not yeah. Okay. We've like gone down a couple layers.
Aaron wants to know how we feel about the Lucha Brothers potentially coming to WWE. Are they for sure, or is it still just like a possibility?
Yeah, no. So the report now is that Penta is pushing back on the report so Ray can leave AEW without any contractual hurdles.
Yeah, because otherwise they'll be like, no, you can't go because you're gonna go to
Yeah,
WWE.
yes, we can't have
So
that.
okay, in my opinion, do I want them there? Of course, because their style of wrestling is one of my favorites. I've always
They're
said that. Like,
fucking awesome.
my problem is that I don't love how Triple H has booked these type of wrestlers, okay? Because what happened to Dragon Lee? What is happening to Andrade? Like, what is happening to any of the other luchadors that are in WWE? Like, they're not, it's just not where I feel like they should be. So bringing in a tag team that perform that style doesn't make me feel too like confident that they'll be, that they'll make it better, that they're going to be on the show consistently, or they're going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard for me to imagine that they're not treating the guys that they already have well, that perform just like them, that they're not being booked properly, that they're going to bring in guys that are not their guys and book them better. I don't know. It just makes me, but I also would hate to see that in a way.
But
Because as talented
yeah.
as the Lucha Brothers are, you still have really talented luchadors in your building that you're not booking, and people would love to see a Dragon Lee match. People would love to see Andrade matches. Like
Andrade versus Pentagon Penta would be, that would put asses in seats. Like, Penta is so different than the other luchadors that are in WWE right now that he would not get sucked into that LWO legato vortex that is. I would actually see them really, this is gonna be crazy, but you put Lucha Brothers, Motor City Machine Guns, and DIY on the same show.
Hello, you're missing one.
Eight Down Under.
No.
Because that's gonna be
I guess you're missing two.
Street Profits.
Uh-huh.
Bloodline.
No, that's not who I'm talking about.
It's your okay.
I'm
Well,
really
you know
offended.
what? They're not in front of me, Sarah. I can't see them.
I'm really offended.
If they're not on me, I almost just said if they're not on me TV. That would have rhymed though. Hello. Yes, boys.
Yes, boy.
They're getting a lot of praise from what I've been seeing online.
I'm kind of surprised that we're not seeing more homophobic comments about them, because clearly they like men based on how they dress. So that's how you can tell,
Sheamus was on TMT. That's right.
Yeah, they used to do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Sheamus was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Also, did you see our worlds have collided? Because Becky Lynch is the latest guest on Games with Names, hosted by Julian Edelman. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
I have watched the first 27 minutes of it. It's quite long. It's over an hour. But I love that they're featuring wrestling. They're talking about WrestleMania 35. Yeah, they're talking about WrestleMania 35. So they're talking about Becky.
Oh, and she main evented.
Yes, Mania.
Okay.
So, but so far, all I've seen, is like they lay the groundwork of what they're going to talk about. But it's a lot of like how Becky grew up and how she got into wrestling and like where she's at right now. So I haven't gotten to the rest, but very good. So if you are interested in seeing a Becky Lynch interview, so far, from what I've seen, her interview on Games with Names, which is from Julian Edelman, Patriots legendary wide receiver, I would suggest it because my worlds have collided and I loved that.
I did not know that. That's so wild that Becky Lynch is on Julian Edelman's show. Jesus.
Oh my God. John, awesome. You have 4 different MVP action figures. And why did you have to spell out his full name? Just to prove that you did know him?
Only he knew who he was.
He's like, I need you guys to know that I know his full name to prove I am a legitimate fan.
He
said it's the only way.
The full name.
I appreciate it because I feel like Vontavious is not a very easy name to spell. Okay, Vanny Jam says, who would win? Rey Mysterio, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde. Oh my god. Versus I can't even.
Juventud Guerrero, Psychosis, and Super Crazy.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm like, Gunther's in the way, so I can't read full questions. I can only see part of them.
And Juventud has more consonants than letters.
Yeah.
I'm going Juventud. I'm not saying their name.
I mean, I feel like, no disrespect to Cruz or Joaquin, but I mean, like, if you threw in some other people, if you threw like Andrade in there or something, then I might go with Rey Mysterio.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Do you know who these three are? It's the Mexicools.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah.
I'm taking the Mexicools over LWO. I'm sorry. Joke or not. That's a fact.
He wants to stand up with you. Okay.
You were awesome.
Oh, okay, cool. MVP, he's met MVP multiple times. He's a big fan of the reality TV show The Circle. That's good to know. I did not know that. Thank you. Yeah, Mexicools, you know.
Yeah, dude, go watch. That's another side of.
Yeah, that's something that wouldn't fly today.
Not their entrance, Sarah. Their entrance.
No, or their name. They would be like, I'm offended.
I think Mexicools is fine. Their entrance is not, but
I just think, but you're not the target that would be offended over that name.
I'm trying to walk a mile in their moccasins. Okay.
All right, calm down, sir. Okay, so I don't really have a whole lot to say about, whatever we were seeing with Sonya and Shayna and Zoe, other than I really do love Shayna's hair color. Or Zoe's hair color. I'm sorry. Shout out to her. Looks really good. It's more so about their faction name was revealed on Raw, and it is the Pure Fusion Collective. My first immediate thought was, who hates you? Who hates you? Because it feels like, who came up with that? Who thought it was a good idea? It's as bad as it's not as bad. It's pretty bad. Like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, whatever there was. Their group, I can't even remember. You remember they had that
New Catch Republic?
Yeah, I mean that's better. That's actually better than Pure Fusion Collective. Like, what is that?
If they did a Def Rebel entrance theme where we hear women, I don't know if it'll be them three, but just women chanting that beforehand into like generic copyright free dubstep, I can't do it.
Or it's like Sonya Deville being like Pure Fusion Collective. That's like how it starts. It
sounds seductive.
It's just, to me, what does it mean? Like, I understand trying to get away from all the jokes online, calling him the stud line and like Scissor Sisters, whatever. But like anything else other than this probably would have been better. I think I appreciate the creativity. I appreciate that they're not going to have to change their name because, the guys in WWE didn't realize it was a porn name the way that they did with like, what was it?
The Bang Bros?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, but also no, it was like the Submission Sisters or something, whatever it was with Paige.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. No, it would have been. Oh, shit.
I don't remember, but it still had to be changed. Yeah, because it was like a porn name. So like, I appreciate that they have that, but to me, what does this mean? I just don't get it. And it just doesn't like roll off your tongue. Like, New Catch Republic is kind of like whatever, but it doesn't sound that bad. Like, as much as I don't like it doesn't sound as bad as this. I just don't know what this means. And it's
hate
like,
it.
to me, collective feels like a different name for like team, faction. You know, it was like, why not
Conglomeration. I
just
like
call yourself like
conglomeration way better.
Fusion or something like that? Like, even Fusion sounds cooler if they were just called Fusion. Like, I'm not saying it's
See,
great,
I
but
don't. No. I'm thinking because I actually like if they were just like we're fusion. I'm like okay.
yeah, like at
I
least that would
wouldn't
be
be
like,
as up in arms about it.
if they called themselves Fusion, it wouldn't be a talking point today. I guarantee you. I would probably be like, oh, it's interesting. I don't know, but like, it's still like Fusion as a word sounds cooler than Pure Fusion Collective. Like, it almost sounds like a label of like a high end clothing line or something. You know, it's just bizarre to me.
I was gonna say fragrance, but clothing line is right up there.
Yeah, that's just kind of what it sounds like to me. So so this is the thing too, because of their reaction was so negative from what I could see on social media. I really wouldn't be surprised if they don't stick with this. I'm kind of curious to see if they end up changing it, because I get it. Everything that people say online doesn't dictate what WWE does, and I'm not trying to imply that. But I don't think I saw a single positive comment about this. And from the most part, I haven't really seen
I haven't
negativity
seen anything.
surrounding their group. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen people hating on Shayna, Zoe, and Sonia. So I don't feel like people hating on the name is coming from that place. You know what I mean? I think it's just
I
a
don't get.
weird
I
name.
don't get. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Like it sounds crazy, but Mark Briscoe calling him Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, and Ishii the conglomeration makes more sense
Yeah.
than this. Like,
Yeah.
see, in all seriousness.
Well,
But then
yeah.
again, what do they do? Like, what do they like? What? Like, okay, I'm trying. Pretty deadly. That I'm complimenting.
No, I'm
Yeah, the bread. I don't know where it is, but we're gonna find it. Pretty deadly. It's a good name because it captures them as a tag team. Like,
yeah.
they're pretty, but like they're deadly in the ring, and they are. Like, okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Like the bloodline to smack it over the head.
Mhm.
Genetics.
But also like
The
brawling brutes. Yeah, they
brawling
like to
brutes.
fight, and they're not American, you know, and they're big dudes. Like, that makes sense.
What
But
the fuck is a? I don't even. I forget the name. You
Pure
took away the
Fusion Collective.
pure. What's pure?
I
What's pure? What are we fusing? And I guess they're a collective because it's a group. A
I
lot
know
of damn
what I
names you
mean.
can
Like,
come up with. Like what?
I feel bad hating on it. Like, if they came up with it, I can't feel bad if they came up with it and we're hating on it, but it's just not a good name. And sometimes I think that they just need to be like, they need to be told it's not a good name. Like, I feel bad if they're like, yeah, this is great. And everyone online is like, no, it's really not. But, you know, if you put this name on a t-shirt, people aren't going to buy it. So that's a huge thing too. Like, if their plan is to keep this group together and they end up having fans, because even if they're supposed to be a heel faction, they're going to get fans, obviously. Hello, I'm a living fan of heel factions, heel groups, whatever. But I would never buy something. Oh my god, this man and bread. I just think
Jesus.
it just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
I gotta find it. They
All
got
right,
hiding
well,
it. I
calm
don't have it.
down. Okay, let's move on. Because the King General, it's time. It's time to talk about him. And he took it to a new level last night, looking dapper in his suit. Okay. As world heavyweight champion, and if you don't like it, cry about it. That's all I'm gonna say every single time. If we talk about Gunther and you're bad about it, cry. I hope you cry about it, because I'm crying tears of joy.
Say it to his face. Say it's right there. If you have anything mean to
If
say
anyone
it to
says
his face.
anything mean about you,
I
Gunther,
was more thinking.
I've got your back, bro. I've got your
I
back.
was thinking you show the face.
I'm telling him to his
You know what?
face.
You talk to him. You
I was
do
telling
that.
him, say it to his face, okay? Look at
Because
that
I think you're
handsome
pretty
face.
cool. I think you're a pretty cool champion, and what you're doing right now with Randy is some
It's
great
good.
work. I just want
It's
to let you
good.
know that it's very good work.
So Randy just comes out, blah, 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 right? They go back and forth, and Gunther takes it to a new low because we know that he is on a kick of insults. You know, we keep talking about how he referred to the Judgment Day, but specifically Damian Priest, as street trash. That's become the new thing. He is now going after Randy and letting him know that he is a screw up, but so was his daddy. And you know who else? Your granddaddy. So he took it to a new low. Like, he didn't just go after your mama, he went after your mama's mama. And that really pissed off Randy. So
Really did, yeah. Keep going.
yeah. But I think okay, so I'm loving the direction that they're going with this feud because, again, as we had talked about in the lead up to SummerSlam, they really needed to do something to make it more compelling because basically it was Gunther is facing Damian Priest because he won King of the Ring, and this is the match that he got from winning that. So they needed to
Yeah.
make it more interesting than just like, okay, he's just following through with his contractual obligations, right? And they did a really good job with that. It's gotten to the point where people almost don't care that Damian's not champion anymore because he's doing other things now that it's like, okay, cool, like he's already moved on. So this could have been the exact same thing because we're looking back at King of the Ring and it's like, oh, Randy's shoulders weren't down, blah, blah, blah. So that could just be like, yeah, I'll give you a rematch. I'm champion. You're mad
Yeah,
about it.
that's the
Whatever.
easiest. Yeah, I said it last week that this
Yeah.
was.
So
Yeah,
the fact that we're now taking it to a personal level, it's like making it so much more interesting. And we already know this is going to be the main event of Bash in Berlin. So it needs to get to a
it's be
level where
personal.
yeah, it needs to get to that level where people are going to be okay with not seeing Cody last. You know, I think that that's the thing too, and that is another reason why I said I really wouldn't be surprised if that's why they have him just going against Kevin, because it's not a blood feud, it's not a deep heated rivalry. Like, people will want to see the match, but it's not going to take precedence over world heavyweight title dude in like his home area, as we said, his home
Yeah,
like
his home. No, it's
area.
literally his home area. He's not
Yeah.
from Germany.
Yeah. And he's
He's
gonna
not.
be super over. So it's like that is the reason why he's gonna be the main event. So they're making it more personal with a guy who is as loved as Randy is the best way to go about it. And I think they're accomplishing that. I mean, then they also will talk about Drew's music playing, Gunther being a dummy. I was so disappointed that you did this. But turning around to look at Damian, knowing that the dude in front of you likes to slither around and hit that RKO out of nowhere, you gave him a
I'm
prime
not shocked.
opportunity.
I'm
So
not shocked in the slightest. He
I
mentioned
know
last week, I don't get caught off guard. Like this
I
is just
was.
this is this.
Oh my god. I was just really disappointed that he did that. But interested in I'm interested in what they're doing.
There we go. I to make my point that my mic muted and unplugged.
Oh, okay.
So back to my point. I forgot my point.
Oh
That sucked.
jeez. Oh man.
I mean, pretty much it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
Move go to the sidebar, move it to the banners. No, on your computer. Move it to the
Go to my
banners.
sidebar.
Yep. Get it off the comments. That's what's distracting you. You keep seeing things about bread. Stop looking at the comments. So just change it to the
You
banner.
mean
So
this bread?
yeah, so you can't see the comments.
Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, so I'm excited. I think that Gunther's doing a great job. This segment was good. I don't think either of them dominated the other, despite what the Gunther haters are trying to sell you. They're saying that Randy cooked him. No, he didn't. Randy basically just said, as I said to Pat before we went live, he said all of the stereotypical babyface things like, oh, the championship means a lot to me, blah, 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 blah. Like, he didn't say anything. And Gunther didn't say anything unique either. He did the easiest low-hanging fruit insults, right? Especially when you're talking to a guy who's a third generation wrestler. So I think it was good. They're doing well together. And I think that it's getting people far more invested than if this was just like, oh, we're just going to do the rematch because why not,
Yeah,
Do you remember your thought now?
I had it and then I lost it again because
Stop looking at other things.
I was looking at the banner about Drew McIntyre.
Okay. Do you want to just move on to that then?
No, I got it. Boom, brain
Okay.
blast.
Okay.
I love Gunther in this new over the top personal attack heel, and I
Mhm.
tweeted about it. That to me, it seems like it's his Christian Cage a little bit. And
Mhm.
seeing a little bit of, WWE trying to get to that level, like, because in reality they can't. We can't be on WWE programming talk about dead parents.
Yeah.
However, what's the other way to do it is going at the person about the parent. Like, you see what I mean?
Yeah, because
Like,
he did
it's
it with
like
Damien
he
also.
did with Damien. It is the easiest way to hit a personal nerve. And Gunther, what I love about him is that he's no nonsense. So he
Mhm.
doesn't need to play the mind games, the little things like that to throw you off guard. He just hits you right where it hurts. That's
Mhm.
his psychology. Is he hits you right where it hurts, physically and mentally, emotionally. Going after the family is an easy one, especially with Randy Orton. Like, yeah, he's messed up a few times. It's well known he was suspended for, PEDs or some sort of steroids.
He also got kicked
Um,
out of the Marines.
yep, that's a whole other
Yeah.
can of worms as well. And then, there definitely was some stuff with Bob. I won't go about the grandfather because I wasn't even a thought at
Yeah.
that point. But Bob Orton, what I do know, like, yeah, he did have a rough life on the road because he was a wrestler in the 80s
Yeah.
at the rise of it all. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you're going to have that. And it just plays more into that psycho, slithery snake that is Randy Orton. And that's the best Randy Orton that we want to see for this match.
Well, and I don't think people are remembering. I mean, because for so many people who hate Gunther, they can't think about anyone cheering for him, but people aren't taking into account where they're going to be at Bash in Berlin. And it's 99% going to be there to cheer for Gunther. So they have to let him go to these lows to get a lot of heat in the US to make sure that, like, oh yeah, you guys really 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 hate him. You know what I mean? Because like
Mm-hmm.
the crowd in Berlin is going to love this dude. So they're going to want him to be like, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to like explain it,
I
but
know
it's like
exactly what you're saying.
it's
You need the
because
heat on the American, but
yeah,
because you
cuz
need
it's
the
like
the American fans are gonna watch it on
yes, for
Peacock, like they're
yeah.
watching it, but then you need the fans that are there.
And at the
They don't care
Raw.
what,
Yeah.
and at the Raw, they don't care what Gunther's saying. They're
Yeah.
gonna cheer this man. It's like
Yeah.
Cena in
So,
Boston or CM
yeah.
Punk in Chicago.
Yeah. So
Things
it's
that
like
happen.
they have to have that continue and like remind people like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to cheer for him. Even if these people are cheering for him, you're not supposed to cheer for him. So
Mm-hmm.
I am curious to see how this match goes. And I think that they really are trying to make you believe that Gunther is not going to win or that he has a chance not to win because they're like, oh my God, Randy Orton hasn't won on a PLE for this long, blah, blah,
Who
blah, blah, blah. And I'm
cares?
like, do not do that. Don't even tease the
Doesn't
possibility of Randy
matter.
Orton winning. Like, don't even do that. Don't even do
Doesn't
that.
matter. Right?
Um, but yeah.
Ringing doesn't matter, Sarah.
So because he also came out, I had to talk about this. Well, we can talk about the Punk stuff too. But Drew McIntyre speaking to Adam Pearce and was saying like, okay, what's going on? Like, why is Randy Orton here from SmackDown and why does he get a match with Gunther for the World Heavyweight title? Like, who cares if he was screwed at King of the Ring? Look at how many times I've been screwed out of the title. Why am I not there? And he's like, you know what? Whatever. It doesn't matter. So he ends up just coming out while Gunther and Randy are staring at each other. And that makes you question before even whatever happened with him and Punk, right? It makes you wonder,
Mm-hmm.
are they going to try to throw him into this or is like was this just a way to get Punk to come out, or what's going to happen? Because if we assume that Gunther is going to retain at Bash in Berlin, that means Randy's going to go back to SmackDown, assuming that he's not going to get another, like, a rematch or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would say Drew McIntyre is next in line for the World Heavyweight title versus Gunther unless you threw a babyface in it. And I also don't really think that Punk gets thrown into that, because why would he be a number one contender for the World Heavyweight title? He's not. You know, the only reason he's involved in the title is because of him trying to screw over Drew. It had nothing to do with him being, you know what I mean? So I just thought it was interesting timing, and it made me wonder. I'm like, okay, what is McIntyre doing in this situation? Why is he involved right now?
He needs to stay in his lane. That's what he needs.
You know what, Mr. Anderson? I don't appreciate it. Okay?
No, he needs to stay in his lane and not be in the title picture. We got freaking CM Punk staring right at us.
Well, I also think that he does deserve to be in the world title picture as long as CM Punk is like hidden somewhere in a locked room.
Yeah, that ain't happening right now. We got a lot of bad blood.
Wink, so that's why I'm saying, like, it looks like we're gearing up for a Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk match, probably at Bash in Berlin. I assume we're going to get that. Punk is probably going to win. Punk is probably going to win. That's my assumption, which I hate. And my only hope out of that is that means that they'll have another match at Bad Blood and that Drew McIntyre wins at Bad Blood. But if we're talking about right now, it looks like, yes, it looks like it might be a strap match, which I get. I mean, I watched Bully Ray and Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth talking about this and how it looks like, yeah, they were building up for this, but it was kind of a way that they didn't like shove it down your throat that this is what it was, was going to happen. It kind of felt organic because Drew came out and was pissed and he took off his shirt and I was like, sir. And then he took off his belt and it was like, oh, okay, that became a part of the thing, you know? So it's like, oh,
yeah,
this just led to that. But
yeah.
Punk fucked him up.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
So that seems like that is what we're going to get at Bash in Berlin.
I like the idea of the strap match here. I'm not really a big fan of it like in person.
General, yeah.
But I love the idea for it because it's they have to be attached to each other. You know, there's no escaping, no running, any of that. Like, and it also is a great build up to the eventual Hell in a Cell, which I will actually put my foot down and say that Drew McIntyre, CM Punk should main event Bad Blood.
If that's Roman's first match back, honey, that ain't happening.
Well, no shit then, but
that's what you have to think about. Roman's not having a match at Bash in Berlin, and the next pay-per-view is Bad Blood in October. So I'm sorry.
It should though, but it's not. But
I think the thing is with the matches that are probably going to happen at Bad Blood, all of them are good. It's like almost any of them could be the main event. You know, you could argue CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre deserves to be the main event. You could argue that Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, if that's what it's going to be, that could be the main event, you know? And then, of course, whatever they're going to have with Roman, whether it's Roman versus Solo, yeah, that could be the main event. But the main reason why that would be the main event is simply because it's probably going to be Roman's first match. I don't know that people are at this point, and we're talking about in August, I don't know that I could say at this point that people are more emotionally invested in a Roman Reigns Solo Sikoa storyline than they are with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre or Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. So I would think it would, at this point, I would say it would be a mistake to have Roman Solo be the main event. But given the significance of this potentially being Roman's first match back since WrestleMania, you know, that is going to trump everything.
I also just realized where Bad Blood is. I think Cody's main eventing. It's his home state.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but the thing is what is his Bad Blood match going to be? I get that it's still 2 months away, but like that's, to me, it's like, a bad blood match needs to be something that's built up. I mean, I guess if they somehow decide that Randy turns heel and then he feuds with Randy, which I still think is ridiculous, because if Randy is getting a world heavyweight title match and then he like goes back to SmackDown, turns heel, and then automatically gets an undisputed title match, that seems ridiculous to me. Like, what are we doing? But that's the only way that I could see it maybe being considered bad blood. Otherwise, the only real opponent that would make sense for Cody to be under the bad blood label would be like Roman Reigns or somebody in the bloodline. That's the only thing that makes sense, and nobody wants to see that. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if he should be the main event. I don't think that just because you're the undisputed champion, that means that you should be the main event. Like, you know,
I agree with that.
it's
as I
something that
just said.
Becky even talked about when they were talking about Mania 35. Like, it because they asked her if it was like the greatest match ever, and she was like, no, it wasn't even my greatest match that year, but the build up and the story and the significance of that match makes it, you know, memorable and historic and legendary. And I feel like that's how
Yes.
things should be when it comes to determining who the main event is. It shouldn't just be, oh, well, Cody Rhodes is this champion. Okay, well, Gunther's champion. Why is it that Cody Rhodes is a bigger champion than him? Or why is it because he's Cody Rhodes and he's champion, does that automatically put him in the main event over a far more compelling story between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk? You know, like, I think that should be how it is determined, but I don't really know. And you keep getting rid of my banners. Keep confusing me.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, okay, so I mean, we could talk about this really quick because I don't really care.
Yay! It happened.
We were kind of
Something
talking
happened.
about this, and if Ivy Nile was going to finally turn heel and like officially join American Made. And that is what happened, and you kind of got a glimpse of that when she was like talking to Maxine beforehand. I was like, oh, she's being a little slimy biatch, and that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, I'm not like super invested in Ivy Nile, but I do think that this is like a good opportunity for her to be featured, because obviously Chad Gable is on every week. The Alpha Academy is on every single week. So if this is an opportunity for Ivy to get matches, that's good for her. This would also give more experience to Maxine. So it's like, okay, I can't be mad about it.
I'm all for it. I don't really have like
That's all I have
strong
to say.
opinions about this. I'm just very happy that we're seeing some progression moving forward with Ivy Nile. I think she is very talented in the ring, and there's a lot to work. There's a lot of work that needs to be done with her, external character, the backstage stuff. Who is she who is she outside of just being a strong pit bull, as she calls herself?
Yeah.
Where's the depth there? And once we see that, like, I truly believe we could have a nice little. She could be something in the women's division.
Her versus Zelina would be
See,
good.
yeah, like that would slap.
So small. That's why I was talking about this earlier with my sister. We were talking about, it's like the women almost need to have a cruiserweight division. Because like there are so many women that are smaller, and I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be champion or something, right? Because like Liv Morgan's 5'3". Okay, so she's a small girl, but it would give them more opportunities to not look like they were going to be the automatic loser. Because when you put Zelina Vega in a match against Rhea Ripley, yeah, it's like putting Rey Mysterio against the Big Show. Really? Like, I get that we're supposed to believe that wrestling is bigger than life and blah, 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 but like no one honestly believes that Rey Mysterio could beat the Big Show, And that's kind of how it is with someone with the stature of Zelina Vega going against someone like Rhea Ripley. Like, it just doesn't seem legitimate. And Rhea has kind of said that in a recent interview, being like, there's more legitimacy with the women's world title right now because people actually believe that Liv can beat Rhea, and she now has beaten Rhea. Doesn't matter the circumstances. She is the last person to pin her twice. So, but when you put someone like, Zelina Vega against Rhea, which we saw at Backlash, it's like no one believed that Zelina actually had a chance.
No, unfortunately, didn't either.
Yeah,
didn't.
All right, before we get to comments, because we have this and then the main event. we see Bronson Reed, they're really going in on making this guy a very hated heel, because not only did they have him slaughter Seth Rollins on live TV, they then
Slaughtered.
decided the next week that he was going to go after R-Truth. And R-Truth did it in a way to save his buddy, The Miz, because this looked like it was going to be The Miz, but R-Truth instead put his body on the line. And we ran into the same issue with the referees and the staff that you would think that they would learn after what happened with Seth Rollins just a week ago, that they would avoid doing the same BS the following week. But no, they left this man in the ring to be hit 6 or 7 times.
It was 6. He's just hitting 6 tsunamis, and it's insane. This man is just like it's like he's just falling off the top rope, and it looks terrifying. If
what's
I am
crazy
the recipient,
to me is people are not thinking about how much pressure and how much hurt that puts on his body too. Like, everyone's so focused on like, oh, R-Truth, that must hurt so bad. It's hurting Bronson too, you know, like he's the one jumping and landing on his body as well. Like, it's hurting both of them. So
it's
but they're I mean, I'm into it, honestly, but we've been fans of Bronson Reed, so it's not like this is anything new. But I'm hoping that they continue with whatever they're trying to do with him, because I don't know what the end game is other than trying to establish him as a hateable figure on Raw. Because Triple H has done this with Bronson Reed in the past. We've seen like multiple weeks where he's on every single week. He's doing great matches. He's doing this and he's that. And then he's off TV for a month. And then he comes back and he's, you know, here for a couple weeks, then off again. So I don't know what they're trying to do, but I feel like they're definitely accomplishing it, the attempt at trying to get people to hate him. Because I think, you know, you go after Seth Rollins, then you go after R-Truth. People are mad.
That's R-Truth. I mean, the man just made a simple mistake of thinking he got his best pal Miz an Intercontinental title shot. Just forgot to finish the name. And you get Bronson Reed, and then he's the one getting tsunami at the end of it. Like, oh, and I love how they did it too, when he stopped and they're rolling him out and they're going so slow, like molasses, out of the ring. And Bronson just goes, oh, all right. To the other side.
Yeah.
There's 4 turnbuckles here. And I think he used 3 at least.
He's like, you thought I was done?
he was like, Adam Pearce screaming at him. He's like, I'm out. You're pissing me off. I need to go. Like, he's such a beast right now, and taking out 2 of the most beloved members of the Raw roster is definitely a way to make yourself hateable.
I know. I'm wondering who's next, because it feels like this isn't the end. Like, he has to keep doing
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Yeah. Who's next?
Goldberg. That wouldn't be bad.
That people would love that though. People would love him to be squashed. Which is the worst faction, American Made or Pure Fusion? Yeah, Pure Fusion Collective is
I like American Made.
I don't love American Made, but I
like it.
It fits. Like I said, it could almost be like what Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter were doing.
Jack 1-2. Oh, we the people.
Yeah, they could have been called American Made instead of the All American Americans. That is iconic, though. I don't care. The All American
that was just Jack Swagger. That is one of the best nicknames.
So stupid, but like so good.
It's nonsense. It is.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any. They can't have Bad Blood without Kane. Yes, they can. He's busy being the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, or whatever.
Yeah, he's all right.
Glenn Jacobs is his name. Kane is in hell.
Glenn Jacobs still freaks me out. You think Glenn Jacobs gets freaked out over May 19th?
All right. Anyway, so we get to the main event, And it is Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And I already was pissed off because they only gave this match like less than 20 minutes. That was when I was like, okay, you guys have messed up because you needed to give them more than like 18 minutes. So that already like set it up for me because I'm like, all right, cool. Like this is going to be rushed and we're not going to get the match that we should get. I would say the match delivered. I'm not complaining, but you could tell that they had to rush the end because they did go like a minute or two over.
Mhm.
But yeah, we knew that Braun Breaker was going to win this and he had to win, and especially in the fashion that he did. And I'm hoping that this is going to be officially the end of Braun versus Sami so that Braun can go and be on his title run and face some other people while Sami can go and do something else that should not be getting the world tag team titles. Okay? I'm sorry. No.
It might happen.
No.
I've seen reports that it might.
No.
I
Jey Uso is never on TV. He's so over. He's a main event guy. He's never on TV. They literally put him in the back just to get a pop. That's it. He's never on TV.
what's up with
Ah,
you and Jey Uso? My
I'm just
dude,
like
main event Jey Uso. I might go throw on my main event Jey Uso
he's not a
sweatshirt.
main eventer. I don't
It is so
care.
wrong.
He's not a main eventer. He's main evented what, once or twice? Once with his brother and once because he was going against Roman Reigns. I'm sorry, but that's it. Otherwise, he's not even on Raw every single week. So why does he deserve to be the tag team
I
champion?
don't.
And not
You
to
know
mention,
what?
you can't take the tag titles off of Judgment Day right now if you're trying to build them up to be a legitimate threat. You can't do that. You can't have them going against the Terror Twins and have them lose their championships as they're in it. Like you can't do that. So no. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this, honestly.
No, I don't either.
Other
It
than
was
being
great.
just disappointed about the time. That's all.
The time was annoying. The only thing I really have to say of any worth is that it is a nice passing of the torch. That
Mm-hmm.
Sammy is done with this reign. It served its purpose, and now you can have Braun Breaker go on his own, historic Intercontinental Championship run. Have him go on one that's just a path of destruction. And then maybe you have a culminate with Bronson Reed, like something like that, where, it's one beast to another and one another. And
Ooh,
Braun
yeah.
Breaker needs to be
Then throw
in this
Braun
roster.
Strowman in there.
Oh, that'd be incredible. What did you
Braun,
think of Braun Breaker's?
Braun.
That's a lot of bronze. Holy shit! That's a lot of bronze. What did you think of his entrance backstage when he was walking out and he did the dogs?
Mm-hmm.
Now people are like the chanting, "Where my oh."
This is the
I'm
thing
such a
that
big
it's
fan.
like
I love
I'm
it.
not, a big Braun Breaker. Sorry, we're talking about so many Brauns. I'm not
There's
like a
so
huge
many
Braun.
bronze.
I'm not a big Braun Breaker fan specifically. Obviously, I know he's talented and stuff. I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna buy a T-shirt, is what I mean. So I think that you can tell that this dude has it when he's barely been on the main roster, right? He's been a heel the entire time that he's been on the main roster. He's done some pretty hateable things, and even against Sami Zayn, and yet he was still getting semi cheered for in this match. And it wasn't even just like, ooh, it was the barking and whatever. And like when he was getting up, getting ready to do a spear or something, like the crowd reacted in a positive way. So to me, that's an indication of someone like has it, because if you are somebody who can still get support, vocal support or visual support when
Mm-hmm.
you're not supposed to be, like, then you're doing something right, because it's pretty easy for people to not care about somebody who's a bad guy or to hate a bad guy and like nobody likes them. It's not
Yeah.
easy to kind of be like booked like a bad guy but still have people cheering for you. I mean, that was something that was
Mm-hmm.
unique with like Roman Reigns. Like even when he was at the peak of the tribal chief, anytime he got ready to do the Superman punch or the spear and he was doing the whatever thing he does, like the entire crowd was doing it with him. But that's Roman Reigns, like we're talking about Braun Breaker. So I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting. Considering
It is pretty good.
how young he is in his main roster career.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's next because we need to close the Sami Zayn feud and go into another one. Like maybe do Ilya. Like
Yeah.
do it
Oh my
now. I
gosh.
don't care.
Yeah. Also, I can't. I'm Jay. I know that you love Jay Uso. I'm not gonna acknowledge your comment though because I can't have this argument with you every single week. Jay Uso is not more of a main eventer than Gunther. Stop it. Is there any other comments that you'd like to get to? Like, do you need another?
This more it's more about like the big. I'm not really kind of addressing the comment. I
big.
just think no, he's big. That's not what I'm saying. I'm ignoring that element of it, but I do want to bring this up that the name Big is your, surname, nickname.
Yeah.
I like if anyone could do it, it's him. I'm glad it worked out that way, but like to start, we were just like, what are we? This is so weird. I don't see it yet, but it could be after this performance.
It works with his name, I think. Like it wouldn't work if it was like Big Sami Zayn or Big Kevin Owens. You know what I mean? It's like Big Bronson Reed. Like it makes sense. It's kind of like when they first started calling Dominic Dirty Dom. Like it didn't really make any sense, but it like makes sense now. And it's like Dirty Dom, Daddy Dom.
Sucio. Next week, Sammy and Jay.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to jump out a window. Honestly,
it's just me, Oos. Day one ish.
Cool. Okay, stop.
Oh, do you want me to keep singing? Cute. No, I'm sexy.
I feel like I should tell John he can never watch us again if this is the type of stuff he's gonna say. If he is going to, enable you.
What? It's the end of the show. Let's go wild. Why don't you sing Sexy Boy?
I don't want to.
Sing a song.
No.
No, that's really all for comments because Old Man Mob just
what's up? You're late, but I appreciate you being here.
We appreciate you being here. It's okay that you're late.
Yes.
Because you can just go and watch clips from the show
or the
on what you missed, or you can watch stream. But time is valuable, so I get it. That's why we got the clips from these streams clipped up. Sara does a great job of cutting them up, putting them on the page, so you can check out what you missed. And if you're checking it out already, why don't you just hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live and post.
We'll be live this week on Friday instead of Thursday because the Patriots play on Thursday and I have a job to do. So
I know you kind of
if you want to see me talk about the Patriots, you can hop on the Musket Fire YouTube channel at like 10 to 11 Eastern. I'll be there. Letting it out. That's why we got to go on Friday. So that's why I have to have the bell notification on so when we go live. So we go live there, and then new episodes of The Bad Gal. I've been trotting you around the Nonsense Galaxy in the Nonsense Wrestling Federation. Sara, you're still possessed. I don't know how we get out of this. At this point, I'm kind of sad that we chose this because I just want to see like the character I created and not like you've seen it. You look like something out of a horror movie. Well, I'm fine with it because I have Finn. So
you do, yeah, and I'll give you a real update when I edit the videos either tomorrow or Thursday, and give you a rundown of everything because you're just possessing people. You're just like you took control over Natalia, poor Katana Chance. Like, it's insane. So if you want to know what the hell I'm talking about, not only check out the clips on our page here, but go over to twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network every Wednesday around 6 p.m. where I play WWE 2K, created Sara, and we put her into the Nonsense Wrestling Federation. So go check that out, and they'll be back on Friday this week. You address that and follow us on all social media platforms in the links in the description below. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We will see you on Friday this week.